And it looks like a team of security too. See how that's working out.
Hi.
Hi.
Can I?
KMET 1490.
We are supposed to say hello to each other. I'm Jennifer. I'm the publicist here.
Hello, Jennifer.
Very, very nice to meet you, and I have your card.
Well, thank you.
You want to talk to Roz Rothstein. She's the CEO of Stanford House.
Okay.
And we got anyway, it's very nice to meet you.
Thank you for what you're doing. It's up in the Beaumont Banning area, conservative talk radio.
In Beaumont Banning. Wow.
Yeah, I host 2 programs, produce a couple, do stuff during the week.
This is fantastic.
So,
how did you hear about this?
Evan Sayet.
Oh, Evan talked about
Yeah, I'm friends with Evan.
I love Evan.
Evan's like, you got to be out there.
Put it right
Please do. Well, it's a pleasure meeting you.
Yes,
Thanks for all you guys are doing.
Thanks.
I mean, I have my own stuff I do as well. I'm a constitutionalist, teach Constitution classes, all that too, and
Fantastic.
involved in events. So I was out here, what was it, about 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, there was a pro-Palestinian thing going on, and I was out here with the counter-protest, the pro-Israel group.
More or less organized this, but we're not...
Were you the ones that organized the one in New York also?
No.
That was a different...
All the rallies have been organized by something called the Stop Iran Now movement.
Right.
And they... But there's always local people, obviously, who have to work on it. The big ones was them. What are they? It's from another... which I can't remember.
Yeah, the StopIranNow.org, it's on the flyer and all that, yeah.
It's on the flyer exactly who the organization is that does all that. Whatever it is, we're a part of all of that, and we are, but we and a whole lot of other groups are the organizers, but we're probably the main ones.
Okay.
So I'll let you talk to Roz.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you. It's nice meeting you.
That's my boss.
Thanks
I'm
for what you guys do, though. Seriously.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for what you do.
No, thanks. I'm with KMET 1490 AM. How'd you find out about this event?
Oh, it was announced. My wife follows it on the internet. I think it was, I don't think it was Breitbart. I don't know for sure.
Well, what was the reason you decided to come out here?
Because I believe in what they're saying here. We cannot afford a nuclear Iran, period. So the Iran deal, you believe, is a very bad deal? It's not good for the world. Not good for the world? You see what they said. See what the Ayatollah Khomeini has been saying over the last... It's kill everybody. I mean, kill the Americans, kill the British, kill the French. Death to America. That's him. That's him. They want to kill everybody. Well, I don't think that's going to happen. So, you know, I'm not going to propagate it here. That kind of talk. Thanks for talking to me. I'd shake your hands, but it looks like your hands are full. I'm gonna get. Oh, there you go. Let me get another image of your flags there. That's great. Thank you for what you do. Douglas Gibbs, KMET 1490 AM. What brought you out to this event?
Oh, I think it's important to be out here and share our voices to make any kind of dent or influence on Congress to vote, you know, no on this deal, and to influence key senators, and because this is just horrendous.
What do you think of the Iran deal?
It's horrible. I'm completely against it.
Is Netanyahu right? It's a historic mistake?
Yes, I believe it's a historic mistake. Absolutely, absolutely. We need to support Israel. We need to just, you know, as many people we can share voices. You know, it's very important. I think we're at a crossroads right now. We need to make a stand and let people know that just, you know, it's just not, you know, just not business as usual.
Douglas V. Gibbs, 1490 AM KMET. You're enthusiastic with the horn honks.
I am. This is the first time that we've been to a rally in LA. We're from the East Coast.
Oh, you're from the East Coast. Well, welcome to the West Coast.
Thank you. And so we are here today as concerned Americans, worried about our children's future with a nuclear Iran. We're here to say that just having a deal to seal your legacy doesn't protect our children. And we want to make sure that our children inherit a safe, peaceful world.
How close to ground zero are you from?
We lived through 9/11, and once is enough. If you have been through what we have been through as New Yorkers, you would understand the importance of keeping the terrorists without bigger weapons than they already have.
You know, I visited the site a year after it happened, and I was amazed. Now, out here in California, because we're so far away, it was something that happened somewhere else. For me, it wasn't real until I actually saw the site. For New Yorkers and for that area, how real was it? Did it completely change the attitude?
It changed our lives. Everybody lost somebody that day. I couldn't find him for hours and hours. I watched my skyline fall, and I watched my skyline smolter, the embers smolter on my way to work for a week. We know, we lived it, we know what it's like to live through a terrorist attack, and I don't ever want to live through that again on my own soil.
You think Iran is still going to get the bomb because of this deal?
I think Iran doesn't even need the bomb anymore after this deal, that we are giving them so much money that they will be able to buy from Russia and China what already exists. We signed this deal, they won.
Pretty much nailed it. I mean, having a deal for the sake of having a deal is not better than having no deal. In this case, having no deal would be better.
Right.
Because the deal that is on the table empowers and funds activities that are just going to be turned against us and our interest. And this is an American thing.
So what brought you out to the event?
I'm here because I have to talk about what is really a situation where our government is making an error of monumental scale. We have 70 years of a basically working nuclear non-proliferation regimen. It's prevented nuclear wars. This is being thrown in the garbage. Already, Saudi Arabia has stated that they will have whatever Iran has.
So you think this, our dealings with Iran is going to create a nuclear arms race in the Middle East?
It already has. Do you think Turkey is going to allow Iran to have nuclear weapons without obtaining them on their own? Do you think that Saudi Arabia has already stated they won't permit this? This isn't about Israel. This is about the entire world. Now, of course, the rest of the world has been bought off. The Europeans are going to have major deals with Iran when the sanctions are lifted. The Russians and the Chinese will sell the Iranians weaponry. So they've been bought off. And that the United States, which is supposed to be the preeminent leader and the supporter of world peace, is throwing a successful non-proliferation regime down the garbage. For what? This is a historic mistake. This is a mistake of monumental proportions.
So you agree with Benjamin Netanyahu on the seriousness of the historic mistake this is?
Oh, this can lead to nuclear war. This is abominable. And
is this administration setting us up for war?
This administration is being extremely irresponsible and short-sighted and naive and almost childish in its assessment that in 10 years, Obama admits that the breakout time is going to be zero. So what does he say? He says, well, he hoped the nature of the Iranian regime would change over this decade through engagement with the world. Well, that's not the way it works with these type of regimes. It doesn't. By giving them $150 billion, you're merely strengthening the terrorist regime. You're merely financing terrorism. The mullahs will be stronger, not weaker. And admittedly, by the administration's own estimates, the breakout time will be zero in 10 years. If Iran adheres to this deal, it will be a nuclear weapon state in 10 years. It doesn't even have to cheat. It's getting a financial bonus that, of course, it's not going to use to build schools in Iran. It's going to use to finance terrorism, $150 billion. There is nothing good about this deal. This deal will spark an arms race. This deal will promote terrorism, even if Iran doesn't cheat. This is the issue of our time. I can't think of something more important than preventing nuclear proliferation. And that's what we are giving a terrorist state the right to build an atomic arsenal. There's no requirement to dismantle the nuclear infrastructure in this deal. Iran does not have to cheat to become a nuclear superpower in 10 years. It just has to bide its time. This is the worst deal imaginable. Dangerous for the entire world.
All right, Alex Cohort from KMET 1490 AM. Let me see your sign here. Let's put it on camera. Giant sellout. Wow. Good sign.
We're already packed with people, so
Yeah, it's not even started yet and the people are already here.
Yeah.
All right, Douglas V. Gibbs here with KMET 1490 AM. I'm at the event out here, Stop Iran Now, at the Wilshire Federal Building in Los Angeles. We're 10 minutes before the event starts. We already have people lining the street up and down. I've shown you video of it. We've talked to a few people. And as this event escalates, I'm curious of how it's going to pan out. Now, there was another event in New York that gathered a large number of people. I have a funny feeling we're going to gather that kind of numbers here also. This video that you're watching on YouTube right now is our record of how everything happened here in Los Angeles. So let me tell you, people began getting here early. I was here 2 hours ago, and there were already people starting to show up. Interestingly enough, at the very beginning, when they began to set up, the organizers had already gotten permission to cement the whole bit, and security came and said they could not set up on the grass. It's federal property. So they were forced to move their tables and all of their stuff off to the sidewalk. Mix up? I don't know. I'm going to talk to one of the organizers later, who is the CEO of the organization that is promoting this, and we'll get to the bottom of it. Walking down along Wilshire Boulevard. The crowd's already lining up along the street. Coming up on 5 minutes before the event begins. A lot of American flags, a lot of signs. Got Alex in tow somewhere. He stopped to talk to somebody. Let's find out. Alex saw a Vietnam veteran hat and had to stop to talk. That's a good thing. Thank you for your service, Alex. You got these signs on the billboards. That looks like a familiar face. There we go. There's that familiar face again. Ted Cruz. Iran's worst nightmare, it says. Local news crews are out here. KNX News, Channel 4, Channel 7. They're supplying signs for the folks out here, handing them American flags.
Yes, I love it. You both look pretty. Sure. Would you like a sign? Sure, thank you. All right, you fly. Each sign says something different, and there's different people inside.
So why are you involved in this organization?
I stand with the United States, I stand with Israel, and I stand against this nuclear deal that in time will show a disaster to the entire planet. No one is immune to nuclear weapons, and while we're negotiating and we're rewarding bad behavior, they're spinning centrifuges.
Will this deal lead to a nuclear Iran and a nuclear Middle East for that matter?
Yeah, I mean, we're already hearing that.
How do we stop it?
We stop this deal. We don't reward bad behavior. We don't give concessions and take away sanctions to a country that is the #1 sponsor of terror on the planet.
So this going on, how does it make you feel about the 2016 election coming up?
I don't think we can wait that long. I think we need to start making changes right now.
Do we have the people in place to make it happen?
We need to make sure that the people who are in place now speak to the policymakers and make the right decision when it comes to this deal. And I think 2016 will prove that we're going to start moving in the right direction when it comes to dealing with terror countries.
Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
And now being told that we're not even allowed to stand on the grass, so people are being told to get off the grass. It's federal property. Once again, this organization got their permission, but for some reason, local security is disallowing them from being on the grass. The gentleman in the red shirt is Ron. I was speaking with him earlier. He's one of the organizers. He's talking to Los Angeles County Sheriff and Police regarding the situation.
So Roz is here if you want to
Okay. I definitely want to ask about what's going on with this grass thing.
Grass? That we're not allowed on the grass? Oh, no, that's not a
No? It's 1490 AM, Douglas v. Gibbs. I'm here with one of the organizers. Please introduce yourself, Roz.
I'm Roz Rothstein. I'm CEO and co-founder of Stand With Us.
And Roz, first off, and this is just kind of a shock to me as I'm walking in, and immediately people are being told they can't have the tables, can't have chairs, not even their bodies on the grass. It's federal property, stay on the sidewalks. And I was talking to Ron earlier, and he was saying that, you know, we were told that you guys were told you had full use, so...
Well, you have to understand that's really not the point of the rally. We don't have a permit today. We couldn't get a permit fast enough, and people wanted to gather on this day.
I see.
This is a memorial day for the Jewish people, and also for the world. The world is very concerned about this, so we have a coalition of organizations here together. That's the point of the rally, not whether or not we didn't have time enough to get a permit.
The rally, there was one in New York City recently.
Yes.
Is this associated in one way or another?
Well, we were supportive to that rally as well, and the group in New York has launched, they were a catalyst for a lot of these demonstrations, so it's very, very important. And then different cities are taking off and following them.
As this is building and we see people along the streets, how satisfied are you or gratified that this many people are out here?
We expected a lot of people because actually we did this today because of the requests from people to do something in Los Angeles. After New York gathered about 12,000 people on Times Square for 6 blocks.
Wow.
You know, everybody was asking us, well, where's our Los Angeles rally? So we said, let's use this special day, this Memorial Day, and express the world concern for a nuclear Iran.
As I'm walking around talking to people, I've met people from the East Coast, people from Northern California that have come down here to this event. Does that surprise you?
No, I think people flew in for it as well. So
wow.
I mean, this matters to a lot of people. This is a moment in time that matters to a lot of people. This is a dangerous, dangerous moment.
So I take it you agree with Benjamin Netanyahu, this Iran deal was a historic mistake.
I agree with most people who feel that the Iran deal, the way that it stands right now, is a historic mistake.
Is this administration setting us up for war?
I think that the administration needs to take another look at the fine points in the Iran deal.
Thank you for spending the time with me, Ross. It's a pleasure.
Iran is the world sponsor of terrorism. Imagine the world sponsor of terrorism with nukes.
And meanwhile, we've got a president trying to make deals with them and saying we can trust them.
We have to work to convince them.
Well, thank you for the time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So that was the CEO of the organization that organized this event that we were just speaking to. And this has really gotten crowded here. As she was saying, although they had talked to people about permission to be here, they were unable to get a permit in time, and therefore they're not allowed on the grass. Everybody has to be on the sidewalks. Once again, people are sounding their horns as they go by in appreciation and support of the ralliers. Laney from the Mountain View Republican. Well, what's the name of the group? The Mountain
View Republican Club.
Mountain View Republican Club. Lenny with her Israeli flag and her Stars and Stripes hat. They got Judy, her cohort, right here, with her flag shirt. Let me see the sign.
Yeah, we're working directly with the photographer.
So lets them know that we're not going to mess around. Congress needs to say that.
All right, so you came all the way out from
San Dimas and Upland. So Lenny's from Upland. I'm from San Dimas, and we're here to support everybody who's fighting against Iran getting the nuclear bomb, to getting nuclear energy. They're not going to use it for good, and it's time that we start speaking up against the atrocities that are happening in this world.
Benjamin Netanyahu called it a historic mistake.
Gigantic, historic mistake.
Is this administration setting us up for war?
I think so. I don't trust our president. I don't trust anything that he's doing, and I think that he would love to see another World War III. And he will be a part of it. He's leading it. He is destroying everything that's good about our country and selling it off to the terrorists of the world on the other side.
Israel has been told that military aid, we're not going to increase the military aid to them because of their condemnation of this deal. Does that surprise you that this administration would say such a thing? And did you hear about that?
No, I didn't. So they're going to be they're going to cut off aid to Iran?
No, to Israel for condemning this condemning this deal. Well, they're not going to cut off aid. What it is there's a military aid package, and whenever we have the latest and greatest, we send it to them. We're not going to increase a package, nothing more. Package stays the same size, so it's like cutting off an increase of aid to Israel for condemning this deal.
Iran has always said death to Israel at any cost. And this is going to play right into what they want. We have to stand up against this deal. We have to fight, and we have to make Congress understand that if they support the Iran deal, that they're all going to be looking for new jobs.
Some people fear that this is going to create a nuclear arms race in the Middle East. What do you think?
Yes. Wouldn't surprise me.
Saudi Arabia's attitude is, well, if they get the bomb, we get the bomb. They're friends with Pakistan. Egypt saying they want the bomb.
It's going to be a horrible chain reaction of the bad guys actually winning. You start getting nuclear bombs into the hands of Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Jordan, Egypt, Libya. Nothing's going to survive. Israel will not survive in something like that, in a scenario like that. It's terrifying to think that one of our greatest allies is now being put into such jeopardy because of something that our president is pushing forward.
The timing of the Chattanooga shooting in Tennessee, it was right after this deal. Do you think there's a connection?
I don't know. I can't answer that. I think it was just another sick person who wanted to make a statement. Whether it was associated with the Iran deal, I didn't even think of that. It hasn't been something that crossed my mind.
Well, this deal shows an attitude of appeasement by this administration. Do you think that it may result in an increase of terrorist attacks such as Chattanooga in the near future?
Absolutely.
Absolutely?
Absolutely.
Another 9/11 event, perhaps?
Hopefully not, but it would not surprise me because our president is not protecting America in the way that he should. We have things that are happening around our own cities with Jade Helm, and that's kind of a scary aspect to be driving along the freeway and all of a sudden you're seeing tanks and transport trucks full of military. What's with that? I mean, what are they setting up for? So
yeah, one wonders.
One wonders.
Thank you, Judy.
You're welcome, Douglas.
All right, with us we have Evan Sayet, evansayet.com, conservative comedian extraordinaire. Evan!
I am such a great comic. Cars go by and they honk for me. Excuse me. Hi. Okay, you were saying.
You're actually the reason why I heard about this event. You're the one that put out the word. How happy are you to see the numbers that we have?
It's impressive. I got to tell you, people in Los Angeles don't come out for much. All right, certainly not on a sunny summer Sunday. How was that? Sunny summer Sunday. And yet here we are. We're easily in the thousands already, and people are coming and coming and coming. Look, it's an important issue. There's really probably no more important issue than keeping the ultimate weapon out of the hands of the ultimate bad guys.
Benjamin Netanyahu called this a historic mistake. What's your feelings about his comment?
He wasn't talking about this gathering, I assume. He was talking about the agreement. And of course it's a historic mistake. You know, in a certain way, those who hate the Jews have it better today under Obama than they've had it in a long, long, long time. Look, Jimmy Carter gave Iran to the Ayatollahs. Iran used to be an ally of America and in turn an ally of Israel. And it was Jimmy Carter who, by no accident, no coincidence, turned it over to the enemies of America and the enemies of the Jews. And Obama started his administration already with the benefit, from his point of view, of Iran in enemy hands. Now he's going to give Iran the ultimate bomb. This is not an accident. This is an enemy of Judeo-Christianity. Is now the president of the United States. And not surprising that here we are. We have to stand up as we the people against him.
Is this administration setting us up for war?
Well, they're setting us up no matter where it was. If you followed the Obama administration from day one, any enemy of freedom, any enemy of Western civilization was his friend. You look at the uprising originally, the democratic uprising in Iran, he sided with the Ayatollahs. If you look at the uprising in Egypt, he sided with the Muslim Brotherhood. If you look at the uprising in Honduras, he sided against the Democratic ally with a leftist coup. No matter where it is, if you want to know where Barack Obama stands, it's with the enemies of Western civilization, and this is no exception.
We're in Los Angeles, a liberal center of Southern California, yet we've got horns blowing as cars go by in support of what they see. What does that tell you?
Well, it tells me that even liberals will sometimes be able to see the difference between good and evil. When it is so in your face, look, nowhere in the entire world is good juxtaposed with evil as clearly as it is in the Middle East and Islam and Judaism and Christianity there. And it's not surprising that we have Christians out in support of this. This is not an Israel issue. This is a freedom. This is a Western civilization issue.
Last time I was here about 3 or 4 years ago was a pro-Palestinian event here, and I was with a counter-protest group up the street, and the pro-Palestinian group was very loud, very noisy. They were actually taking swings at us on the side of the road.
It's not surprising. I mean, violence in the name of peace. That's not only is that a Palestinian way of going about business, that's the left in America. It is not surprising that the left in America is allied with the violent. The left has always been the ones who are violent.
Well, meanwhile, I'm out at this event. We got security everywhere, and to keep the peace, they're bored.
I'm here. That's why. That's really it. You take the Palestinians take one look at me and they go the other way.
Evan, let everybody know on camera who you are and what you do.
Well, you go to Evan Sayet, SAM.com. You know how famous I've become? They told me, I was on a radio show, not yours, I'm on your show often, but I was on a radio show and they said, if you Google my name and you misspell it, Google will now ask, do you mean Evan Sayet? So I think that's a level of notoriety and accomplishment that I've reached. Go to evansayet.com, go watch my videos, go watch my lectures, buy my book, The Kindergarten of Eden.
And check you out when check him out when he does his events. You just matter of fact just finished a tour.
I did. I'm back from a multi-city tour. We sold out just about every show. And by the way, in liberal cities. We started in Phoenix, which is...
Hey, you were in Chicago, weren't you?
We did Chicago, we did Boston, we did New York, and packed the joints. And I think I'm going to do a concert video here in town, so look for me in town. And then I'm going to go back out in the fall.
I've known you for years, sir, and every time it's a pleasure. Thank you.
My pleasure. It's good to see you.
All right, bye-bye.
Go. What's the interview for?
Why are you here, miss?
Because I'm here because I think what they're doing is wrong, and even if people have a different opinion, that's okay. I'm very scared. I have a brother that lives in Israel right now. He made Aliyah. I have a sister who's going to medical school there in September. I don't want my brother to die. I don't want my sister to die, or any innocent Jews to die. Where I'm here today, standing up and saying that this isn't right. When I heard there was this protest today, I came here to fight for what's right, for my people. I know someone that died by a suicide bombing. If someone put a suicide bomb in America, I would be scared. I wouldn't wish anyone to go through this, anyone to die, or anyone to suffer. I don't want to lose family because of this. My great-grandmother was a Holocaust survivor. She was a proud Jew. Though she pretended she wasn't Jewish to save her life, it wasn't fair to her. She had to hide her beliefs to save her life, and because of Hitler. I lost a lot of family, and I'm not losing my family in Israel. My dad has family there, my mother has family there. And I'm here today telling people that this is wrong and that I want peace. And we deserve to live. We deserve a chance. You know, we deserve to see our great-grandchildren grow up and have lives. And I hope, even if you do the wrong thing, I want you to know that this is wrong. And that's why I'm here today, protesting and praying. Every day I pray for my brother that he's okay. Every single time I hear on AOL about the bombing, every single time I hear about it, besides AOL, was watching a soap opera and the news brief that had about the bombing. It scared me to death.
No, when countries tell you they want to kill you, they mean it. And you don't arm them. And you don't give them the ability to do that. That's all the way back to the Bible. And that's what today is all about. In 10 weeks, we're going to be commemorating the holiest day of the Jewish calendar. On Yom Kippurim, we're going to say confession 10 times. We're going to say 2 sentences that sound alike, but they're far from being alike. We're going to say, Al chet shechatanu lefanecha betumas sifatayim. We have sinned before you, O God, by impure lips. But right after that, we're going to say, Al chet shechatanu lefanecha betishus peh. We've sinned before you by foolish speech. What's the difference? The difference is the first one is referring to when you say something wrong. You gotta say vidui, you gotta confess. The second is when you're silent and you shouldn't have been silent. And when you're silent and you shouldn't have been silent, you gotta give confession as well. Well, today and 10 weeks from now, we won't be silent. And we will tell the government, the administration, Congress, this is a bad deal. And remember the biblical story. Don't sign a bad treaty. Thank you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker, who I don't see, but he's supposed to be near here, is, oh good, there he is, okay. Nationally syndicated talk show host, columnist, public speaker, and author, Dennis Prager.
I make a living talking to people, but this is not, okay, louder, better. This is not one of those times that I have looked forward to speaking. It is difficult for me to believe that the government of the United States of America, the greatest defender of freedom, the greatest fighter of evil of any country that has ever existed, has signed a treaty enabling the worst country in the world to be strong. It doesn't make sense. And I want you to understand this is not a left-right issue. It is a right-wrong issue. And I'm not saying that for political reasons. I'm saying it for moral reasons and because there's proof. I'll wait for them to go. There's proof. The Israeli left is completely behind Netanyahu on this matter. The Israeli left is indistinguishable from the rest of society there and from the opposition to this agreement in the United States of America. Let me read to you from the opposition leader, the head of Israel's Labor Party, Isaac Herzog. This is from The Atlantic just last week. Last December, when I interviewed the leader of Israel's left-leaning Labor Party, Isaac Boogie Herzog, he said, "I trust the Obama administration to get a good deal." In a telephone call with me last night, Herzog's message was very different. The deal, he said, quote, will unleash a lion from the cage. It will have a direct influence over the balance of power in our region. It's going to affect our borders and it will affect the safety of my children. Iran is an empire of evil and hate that spreads terror across the region. Iran will become a nuclear threshold state in a decade or so. This is from the head of the left in Israel. So it is not left-right, it's right-wrong. You don't know, Roz said earlier, you don't know how bad the treaty is until you actually look into it. Do you know that? I'll give you the actual name. It's Annex number 3, I believe. Yes, Annex 3. The signatories commit to, quote, cooperation through training and workshops to strengthen Iran's ability to protect against and respond to nuclear security threats, including sabotage, as well as to enable effective and sustainable nuclear security and physical protection systems. We are committed to protecting Iran against those who would hurt Iran. Do you understand that? Is that not a broken moral compass? It's embarrassing. I love this country so much. It's one of the rare moments I am embarrassed. There is an embarrassment to have an administration sign something like this. They say that the only alternative is war. No, the only alternative was more sanctions. That was the alternative. It's not true about war. We have bailed Iran out. They were weakening. We have bailed them out with this godforsaken treaty. I beg you, I have never encountered this sense in my life in the United States of America. I do believe that this is analogous to Munich. There are people who say, oh, there's a professor who wrote in the Jewish Journal of Los Angeles, you can't compare it to Munich. The Jews of Europe couldn't defend themselves, but Israel can. But don't you why? Because it has nuclear weapons, Israel? Iran doesn't care if it's attacked by nuclear weapons. These people do not believe in mutual assured destruction. The Soviet leaders believed in it. That's why there was no war with the Soviet Union. They didn't want to be destroyed. The fanatics in Tehran are okay with being destroyed as long as Jews die as well. That's the difference. Why can't people understand that? These are the moral equivalent of ISIS. There is no difference except one. There are only two differences between the Iranian regime and Islamic State. Only two. And they are that one is Shiite and one is Sunni, and one advertises its atrocities and one hides its atrocities. Those are the only differences. When we make an agreement with Islamic State, would the United States sign a treaty with Islamic State? then what is the difference? I want to know. Ask Secretary of State Kerry, what is the difference between Tehran and the Islamic State? What is the moral difference, Mr. Secretary? Name one. The parallels to 38 are frightening, are just frightening. Let me give you just a few of them. The Nazi regime was a police state. The Islamic Republic of Iran is a police state. The Nazi regime's great hatred was Jews. Iran's great hatred is the Jewish state. The Nazis' greatest aim was to exterminate the Jews of Europe. Iran's greatest aim is to exterminate the Jewish state. Nazi Germany hated the West and its freedoms. The Islamic Republic of Iran hates the West and its freedoms. Germany sought to dominate Europe. Iran seeks to dominate the Middle East and the Muslim world. Just as Britain and France appeased Nazi Germany, the same two countries, along with the United States, have chosen to appease Iran. And most ominously, just as the Western democracies dismissed Nazi Germany as the Jews' problem, the Western democracies dismissed the Islamic Republic of Iran as Israel's problem. So here's a word to the non-Jews of Europe and the Americas. First they kill Jews, then they kill you. And if you don't know that, you are, with all respect, an idiot. They never, ever, ever end with Jews. They always start with Jews, but they never end with Jews. The world ignored the terror against Israel, and now look at the Christian communities of the Middle East. And look at how many Muslims are blown up at their mosques. But it was dismissed, Islamic terror, as Israel's problem. Now it's everybody's problem. Iran is everybody's problem. And that is all we need to know. I beg you to do everything possible. I think this is an unprecedented moment in modern American history. People I respect, like Charles Krauthammer, think it is the worst deal the United States has ever signed in its history. This is a very serious moment. I'll end with a very simple thought. Simple, but not simplistic. Iran is at war with the United States, but the United States is not at war with Iran. And I'm not calling for troops, but at least a war of words, a war of politics, and a war of sanctions. This notion, this is mind-boggling. Let's bring Iran into the community of nations. It's the opposite. Let us exclude Iran from the community of nations. Thank you. God bless you for coming. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Dennis Prager. Thank you. Hold them down. Okay. All right. And now, please give a warm welcome to Pastor Lorraine Coconato, Senior Pastor of Leaves of Healing Tabernacle and 11-year Vice President of the Israel Christian Nexus.
I feel very honored to stand before you as a lover of God, as a lover of Israel, as a lover of America and all the people that live in this nation. We are a blessed people. There are promises in the Bible that God speaks to us. I'm going to read you a few verses. Proverbs 14:34 says, "Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people." Psalm 33:12 says, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord." We are blessed because our nation has stood for God. And you and I together, Jew and Gentile, standing up against something that we know is completely not God's plan, but is the plan of men that have not heard from God. In Scripture, the Bible tells us that Haman stood against the Jewish people. I equate that to Hamas. I equate that to a people that hate God's people. But you and I together can stand as Esther, and we can be a righteous people that pray and seek His face and pray that God hears our prayers and acts on our behalf and stops this affliction from coming upon the United States and Israel. I want to talk briefly about Nehemiah. Nehemiah was a wall builder. He built the wall of Jerusalem. He repaired the wall. But one of the things Nehemiah did was he united the people together in unity. He brought them together. And I believe that's why God sent me here today. I worked with an incredible man from Israel, General Shimon Aram, for 11 years on the board of the Israel Christian Nexus. All praise to God. And I was honored to stand with this man and to stand with Israel. And there are Christians all around here. There are Christians that are standing with you today. Don't feel alone. We are with you and for you. 2 Chronicles is a verse to all of us today. 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. The Goliath that we're staring at right now is the Iran nuclear deal. But how many know that our God is bigger than that Goliath? He is for us and He is with us. And we have victory in Him. We are not wimps. Gonna read 2 more verses. I will set watchmen on your walls, O Jerusalem. This is Isaiah 62, 6 and 7. They shall never hold their peace, day or night. You who make mention of the Lord, do not keep silent and give Him no rest until He establishes Jerusalem and America a praise on the earth. Can we say praise the Lord? Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Coconato. And now, please welcome Rabbi Wolpe, author, public speaker, and Rabbi of Sinai Temple.
This is a beautiful and a wonderful thing to see how many people are sacrificing not only their afternoons but also their comfort for what they know matters. I want to remind you, when you speak about this deal, be careful not to insult people who oppose you on this deal, because this is not our last battle. We have coalitions still to build. And remember that there will be another vote and another vote and another vote. So speak passionately, but not insultingly. Speak with a full heart, but don't denigrate the people who disagree with you, because we need them tomorrow. Remember that Tisha B'Av in our tradition is because Jews spoke badly about others. And speak well about the people who disagree with you, so that tomorrow you can bring them in to what we hope will be an ever-broadening coalition to do what we need to do. And now one story, and then I'm done. In the early 1900s, there was a terrible pogrom in Kishinev, and Jewish blood flowed in the streets. And at that time was one of the first Zionist congresses when the proposal to give Jews a land in Africa was first offered instead of giving them the land of Israel. And Chaim Weizmann, who became the first president of Israel, was at that Congress, and he saw how divided it was. That people were terrified because Jews were threatened, and all they wanted was a place to go to save Jewish lives. And Weizmann knew that the place had to be Israel, but he didn't know if he would get the vote. The vote came around. His own father voted for Africa. That's how frightened he was. The head of the Russian Zionist organization, Chlenov, not only voted for Africa, but said a Shehechianu, because he thought finally Jews would be saved. The vote came to Weizmann. Weizmann said no. And then he said it was the decisive moment. It came to the delegates from Kishinev who had lost their brothers, their sisters, their parents, their children in the bloodshed back in Russia. And they said, we want to give you a land that you can have right now to save yourselves. And they said no. And Herzl at that moment turned to Weizmann and said, I don't understand. The rope is around their necks and they still say no. And Weizmann said at that moment, Herzl became a Zionist because he realized that the Jewish people forever and ever do anything that would take away their land, would threaten their land, would tell them to compromise their land, would enable them not to live in peace in their land, would always say no. And we are asking you today, with the same sense of passion, of purpose, of certainty, with the same belief that what we need to do more than anything else is secure both Israel and also this country that we love, the United States. We are asking you to do the same thing that those delegates did 120 years ago in Kishinev when they were threatened and they were scared and they were in trouble, and still they had the courage to do what we asked you to do, what we asked the Congress to do, which is to still say no! Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Wolpe. Thank you. A beautiful, inspiring speech. I'm going to ask all of our speakers. No bad deal. Very good. Okay, we'll do that in a minute. I'm going to ask all of our speakers to please be mindful that we are in a very hot sun and that we all need to be brief. So please keep it to 2 to 3 minutes maximum. And now please welcome Rabbi Marvin Heyer, Dean and founder of the Simon Wiesenthal Center.
Ladies and gentlemen, when this all started, the President of the United States invited 18 leaders to the White House to explain the deal. I was one of them. And I asked the President after his 40-minute address, I said to him as follows: Mr. President, after listening to the case for the deal with Iran, how come the P5+1, all of them, are going to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the end of World War II and the liberation of the concentration camps? So in that case, Mr. President, where was the P5+1 when the Iranian general said that the destruction of Israel, as far as they're concerned, is non-negotiable? Not one of you said one word. That's how I know the Iran deal is not for us. Let me say something else, and people do not understand this. My friends, at the end of 10 years, no one in the administration denies Iran will have nuclear weapons within weeks. If you include the deals they're now going to make with the EU, plus the money in the bank that's due to them, It's $750 billion. Here's my question. So if when Iran was on the poor side, they sent thousands of missiles to Hezbollah, to Hamas, committed terrorist attacks all over the world. What do you think they're gonna do when they're the rich Iran? How stupid can we be? And one final point, my friends, and remember this. Everybody says they have Israel's back. But my friends, this is not a question about having Israel's back. It's a question of having who has Israel's front. That's how we say. Golda Meir said, if Israel was ever destroyed, I know the world will deliver the most wonderful eulogies. And she said, ladies and gentlemen, keep your eulogies and let's have a strong state of Israel.
Thank you, Rabbi Heyer. Okay, with me. The world cannot afford. That was weak. The world cannot afford a nuclear Iran. Better. So we're practicing for later. Okay, and now, ladies and gentlemen, the co-founder of the World of Faith Center, a bilingual church in Compton and Anaheim, also president of the Hispanic Ministerial Alliance of Greater Los Angeles, a position that he has held for the past 8 years, Ricardo Escobedo. Please welcome him. Is Ricardo here? Ricardo! No? Okay. The new, you like the new. Okay, now we have a treat and we'll wait for Ricardo, and when he arrives, somebody tell me. Okay, we have a treat. For those of you who watch, we have the star of Bravo's hit show, Shahs of Sunset. Welcome, Reza Farahan, a proud American Iranian. Woo-hoo!
You guys, I'm not here to stand in front of you. I'm here to stand with you. I'm standing with you guys. I am the luckiest person in the world to live in this country, because if I wasn't living here, you know my ass would be dead if I was in Iran. Last year, they killed 721 people, a lot of them being LGBT. We don't want a nuclear Iran. We don't want a richer Iran. Forget nuclear. We don't want that at all, but we don't want to give the worst country on the planet another dollar to do any more damage. I posted on my social media that I would be here today and that I was honored to stand up here and say a few words. And you will not believe the number of haters. I didn't know I had so many terrorist followers on Instagram. The gay guy has a lot of terrorists following him. And I ripped each and every one of them a new one. Rabbi Wolpe said, do not say anything negative to the people that disagree with you. I am clearly not as evolved as he is. If you support this deal, you are a fucking moron. This deal does nothing but put money in the hands of the most evil people on the planet. Everyone in the world should be, this is not a Jewish, Muslim, this has nothing to do with religion. These people are disgusting, they're evil, and they need to be stopped. Now, I wouldn't mind the military option. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest. I'm down with it. But I would rather have some sanctions, choke them out. Get rid of them. No more money for Iran. Thank you guys. I'm so honored to be here with you today, and I'm so happy you guys are here as well.
Thank you so much. And now, a friend of Israel is hard to find, like this one. Pastor Kevin Dickelman, the pastor of Simi Hills Christian Church in Simi Valley, also the founder and CEO of One Heart for Israel. Please welcome Pastor Kevin Dickelman.
I see a lot of you with American flags and a lot of red and white blue. You know what? We look good wrapped in America, don't we? I want to tell you something. We stand here today and we will not sit down again. I want to tell you why. I was here at a rally not too long ago, and I happened to notice something very significant about where you stand today. We stand with the Federal Building right behind us. It represents America and its greatness, of the freedoms that we celebrate together. There it is in Los Angeles. And we stand here across the street from a home builder in Southern California that has built thousands of homes. I've had that joy. I was a home builder here. And I had the joy of taking dirt and building homes and standing there at the front door and saying, here's the key to your new home in America. Be free and enjoy it. And here is the commerce of America that stands here before us. And I don't know if you know this, but that UCLA campus right over there, their motto is, let there be light, folks, okay? And in education, there is light. There is not light in the hampering of education. There is not light in the closed minds of Iran. There's light there. And then there's this. Across the street from us, there's a cemetery, a national cemetery, that holds those who gave their last full measure of devotion for our freedoms that we stand here today. And they have passed the torch on to us to say, you know what? Do not let this be in vain. And so we stand here at the crossroads of this intersection, representing the government and the economic structure of a free people and the education and the sacrifice of those that have gone before us. Friends, commit yourself today. I will not sit for this. I will stand for freedom in America. I will stand against the tyranny of those that come against America. For God has set this nation in motion for all time, including the gays. He set the motion for us also. So welcome, where you are. Welcome to you. I love you too. Folks, we're free people brought together under one flag, under one people, under one God, under one purpose. And the purpose is the future of America and our freedoms. And we will not stand. I've been to many events and someone says to me, well, what do we do when we leave? If you leave here and you ask that question, stay here until tomorrow, until somebody comes up and tells you what to do. Don't walk away and say, what do I do? We have to stand before our congressmen and our senators and Mr. President. Mr. President, by the way, I want to tell you one thing. I did lose my doctor, okay? And so I have no confidence in what you tell me. And when you tell me that this treaty is safe, I have as much confidence in that as the new doctor that I have right here, okay? We have a responsibility. Take the responsibility and act on it. Act on it.
Thank you. Thank you. Powerful words. Okay. I'm reminding everybody this is a bipartisan rally. We are here together from many different faiths and all ages. We've got kids here. So everybody, let's be mindful of that. With that, I know I didn't have to warn you about that, Jimmy Delshad. Iranian American, proud Iranian American, and former mayor of Beverly Hills, welcome Jimmy Delshad.
Thank you, thank you. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking I'm gonna say it's a bad deal. It's not a bad deal. It's a very, very, very bad deal. You know, I was born in Iran, raised there. I moved to Israel. Then I came to US, and I'm an elected official. So I know a little bit about everything. So what do the elected officials listen to? What did I listen to when I was on city council and the mayor of Beverly Hills twice? I listened to the people. I don't make my mind up before I hear the people. That's what our representatives are doing now in Washington. You gotta talk it out. You gotta mention to them. One thing they have to remember, there is no diplomacy with fanatic Muslim. In that fanaticism, when they slow down and they stop fighting, it's called regrouping. Regrouping, that means get as much as you can for the next fight. There is no such a thing as peace. It's only regrouping. So I know that. I grew up with them. I know what they're doing. So they're doing this to us by fooling us. You know, cheating with the honorable people is cheating. With the fanatics, it's an honor to cheat. If you don't cheat, you don't have guts. You're stupid. You don't know what to do. So the point is, in a few years from now, you'll know they are cheating. But there is no such a thing as snapback. There is no snapback, as our president said. You're not going to get all the countries to come back and snap back. What are they doing with 150 or more billions of dollars? They're just going to give it more to Hamas and Hezbollah, to Assad, now in Yemen. Where else they going to do? Yes, for a short time, the Iranian people are going to feel good. Their money is going to be worth more. They're going to do a little bit more business. In a long run, it's not for the people. This deal was for the government of Iran, not for anybody else. Let me finish with one little short story. When I was just married and my mother-in-law and father-in-law moved to a new building, I asked my mother-in-law, where do you live? She says, I am on 6th floor on the South Cannon. I said, okay, give me the address, I'll come visit you. She says, okay, come to Cannon 242 and with your left elbow, push the button, the buzzer, and I'll send you the elevator. When you come to the elevator, with your right elbow, push number 6 and you come to the 6th floor. I said, Mom, why do I have to use all my elbows? She says, well, are you coming empty-handed? So my message to you, are you coming empty-handed today? No! We're gonna call, we're gonna send texts, and we're gonna do everything we can. We didn't come here empty-handed. Don't go empty-handed. Thank you, and more power to you.
Thank you, Jimmy Delshad. Another proud Iranian American. Again, I want to remind everybody, we have here today people from Iran who are Christian, Muslim, and Jewish. So we need to know that and keep that in our hearts. We are surrounded by people who agree that this is a bad deal. And now, a very, very bad deal. A very, very, very bad deal. Thank you, Jimmy. Okay, and now Hazem Faraj, a Palestinian, a human rights advocate, an author, a filmmaker, and a proud Christian. Please welcome him.
Hello. I see the red, white, and blue hair, and it makes me proud on the inside. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and at the age of 12, my father, go Yankees. My father took us to Jerusalem. We're ethnically Palestinian, and there I was taught the things of radical Islam. And my message here today is not about Israel, it's not about Iran, it's not about anything other than it's a message for the world. That radical Islam is a message that we all have to deal with. I was in Iraq a few weeks ago, and I stand here today with you guys. You might see me, but you don't see the multitudes of people behind who have stories that we have never heard about. There are stories of women being raped. There are stories of kids being sold into slavery. In 2015, just across the border from Iran, these things are happening, and we in the West have no idea, and we hear nothing about it. The United Nations declare that 300,000 people have already died due to ISIS and due to the civil war. And today I am speaking my opinion that enough is enough. You cannot negotiate with terrorists. I'm sorry. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. You cannot negotiate with somebody who wants to kill you. And for some reason in the last few years, it's been cool to blame America that all these things are wrong in Iraq. But I'm going to tell you what the consensus on the ground is. I will leave you with one story, and I hope this pierces your heart. Because today we will wave our banners, we will wave our flags, and then we will go home and enjoy the liberties of the red, white, and blue. And everyone say, God bless America. But there are whole people groups in the Middle East who are looking to us. I feel responsible, ladies and gentlemen, because I have friends who are underground Christians in the Middle East. I feel responsible. I have friends who are homosexuals who are afraid of being thrown off of the balcony. This happens on a daily basis, and this is why we cannot afford a nuclear Iran. Amen. We believe in freedom. We believe in humanity. We believe in freedom of expression, freedom to voice your opinion without being killed for it. I was appalled when the Imam told my brother, your Islamic duty is to kill your brother. My brother, being a good person, he went to the next opinion. He wanted to get surely that this is not the way of our religion. And he goes to the next Imam, and the Imam says to him, it is your Islamic duty to kill your brother. And these things are happening in our neighborhoods, ladies and gentlemen. I pray, I'm encouraged today because you guys have came out. And we are not going to let America wither and fade away, because for all of history, America has been a beacon of light and hope. And I don't care what anybody says, they're still trying to come into America. God bless you. I love you all. And I'll remind you of what the 80-year-old Muslim friend told me, a victim of ISIS. He said, we will be okay because we have God and we have America. God bless you guys.
Thank you. So there are many among you who may think that this is a done deal. Is this a done deal? Why are we here if it's a done deal? We're here because you have power. Because we together collectively have power. And your friends and your friends' friends that you are going to urge to contact Congress, they have power. So together we're going to be a launching pad for power against a very, very bad deal. With me now, the world cannot... One more time with gusto. The world cannot. Thank you. And with that, it's time for some Tehillim. I would like to invite Rabbi Bookstein from the Pico Show to, just for a few minutes, read Tehillim with us on Tisha B'Av.
Thank you for being here on this day. Thank you for bringing your flags. Thank you for bringing your voice. And now we're going to bring some prayer. We have to advocate, as every speaker has said, but on Yom Kippur, we know there are three things that can help to overturn an evil decree. They are tshuva, tefillah, and tzedakah. They are repentance, prayer, and charity. And I encourage everybody to max out your tshuva, tefillah, and tzedakah credit cards in the next few weeks. Please join me in Psalm 121. Shir Lamalot Esa Einai Eleharim Me'ayin Yavo Ezri Ezri Me'im Adonai עושה שמיים וארץ, אל ייתן למות רגליך, אל ינום שומרך, הנה לא ינום ולא יישן שומר ישראל, אדוני שומרך, אדוני צילך, על יד ימינך, יומם השמש לא יככה וירח בלילה, אדוני ישמורך מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך, אדוני ישמור צאתך ובואך מעתה ועד עולם. God bless America and God save Israel.
And may God save the rest of the world as well. Okay, and now the speaker that wasn't here before is now here with us, Ricardo Escobedo. Please join us.
Baruch atah Adonai Elohim. He is the King of the universe. I'm Pastor Richard Escobedo, and as I was meditating on this, my mind and my heart went to the very first murder that took place in the beginning of time in Genesis chapter 4, when Abel brought a sacrifice to God. And God was pleased with Abel's sacrifice. Cain brought a sacrifice as well, but God accepted Abel's sacrifice. And when Cain got mad and upset, God told him he could do the same thing and he would be pleased with his sacrifice. But Cain did not want to do that. Instead, he took a rock and he slew his own brother because God had accepted Abel's sacrifice. As a spiritual leader, I see beyond political things and physical things. This is not a political thing. This is a spiritual thing. It's good against evil. God against the devil. He is evil. What would happen if you give Cain a nuclear weapon? He will use it against his own brothers to destroy them. Our Bible says God is love, God is light, and God is life. The Quran says, if your neighbor does not believe the way you believe, he's an infidel. And if he does not accept what you believe, cut his head off. My Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. God is love, not hate, not death. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, I would like to stress that we have people from all faiths with us today. I want to tell you that the company that is involved in making all the signs for us today are from Iran, and they blessed me for doing this, and they blessed all of you, and they are Muslims. And now I'd like to introduce Pastor Wayman Ming, pastor at New Hope Family Church, a position he has held for the past 26 years.
You know, everywhere I go, people expect this short Chinese man to step up. But what they don't know is that I may be white on the outside, but I am Jewish on the inside, have an African American daughter, a Chinese name, and a love for the Muslim people. And I appreciate that introduction, but it's actually an introduction from my father, who's pastored at New Hope Church for 26 years. And today I'm representing the Israel-Christian Nexus and President Robert Stearns, and I'm here to speak on his behalf as an ambassador for this rally. Yesterday, I asked my 21-year-old son what he thought about the nuclear agreement. These were his words. "I don't understand the logic of funding and supporting a self-proclaimed enemy of the United States of America." That's profundity from a 21-year-old, and I echo those thoughts. I don't understand the logic of lifting sanctions that will allow a self-proclaimed enemy of the United States to build its missile arsenal and its weaponry. I don't understand the logic of infusing a self-proclaimed enemy of the United States with $150 billion when its economy is $350 billion, and we all know where that money will go in a trajectory toward terrorism. I don't understand the logic of supporting and funding a self-proclaimed enemy of the United States that purports genocide for nations. My son didn't understand it, and I don't understand it. But Iranians today in Tehran are rejoicing because their government has negotiated one of the most lopsided agreements in recent history. But here's the good news. We can become a voice today for our posterity. Not just to provide nuclear postponement, but nuclear prevention. Let's be a voice of reason in the midst of irrationality. Can I get a witness? Let's be a voice of sanity in the midst of insanity. For our children, for our grandchildren, and for our great-grandchildren. I see a sign that says, "Don't let our kids inherit a nuclear Iran." Here's the bottom line. We must support diplomatic efforts to negotiate for global crises, but we cannot support diplomatic efforts that jeopardize our posterity. And I would call us today to be a voice and speak out and say, "Stop Iran now." Thank you for listening.
Thank you very, very much. So soon, but not yet, soon, we're going to hear from the great David Suissa, so I'm just giving you hope, David, and letting everybody know that you're here. But for right now, please warmly welcome Attorney Elan Carr, Major in the United States Army, Deputy District Attorney for Los Angeles, past International President and Supreme Master of the Jewish fraternity, A.E. Pi.
I have to tell you, the view looks great from up here. If you could only see this crowd, it is remarkable. Over 5,000 centrifuges spinning and enriching uranium. Thousands more centrifuges in waiting, ready to be hooked up. Research and development on advanced centrifuges that can enrich uranium more quickly. An ability to import and manufacture conventional arms. An ability to produce ballistic missiles, including intercontinental ballistic missiles. Zero constraint on funding international terrorism. Zero constraint on murdering civilians in Syria and elsewhere. Zero constraint on killing U.S. troops. That is the deal. That's if they don't cheat. That's if they comply. And my friends, this is so bad that at the end of the temporary measures imposed upon Iran, at the end of the 10 or 12 years of temporary measures, this deal will have given Iran so much and advanced them to such a degree that their nuclear breakout time will be, are you ready for this, virtually zero. Do you know who said that? The President of the United States, Barack Obama, said that. That's what he said. Virtually zero, and that's if they don't cheat. That's if they comply with the deal. That's if the inspections regime works with its 3 weeks of advance notice on suspicious sites. That's what we're talking about. You know something? We are blessed to live in this amazing country of ours. We are blessed. We are blessed to be Americans and to live in a country that offers us freedom and influence and power and peace and prosperity. But you know why we are blessed to live in such a country? It's not preordained, and it's not by accident. We have these blessings because of the decisions that were made by our predecessors, by the leaders who preserved and who sacrificed and who fought so that we could be the beneficiaries of the wonders of this wondrous country. But the future is not preordained. And whether our children and our grandchildren will live in a prosperous, free, and powerful and influential country depends on the decisions we make today. God forbid should we make the wrong decisions and hand over to our kids a weakened, broken country. God forbid. I want you to know something. I served a year in Iraq with the U.S. Central Command, and Iranian training, and Iranian weapons, and Iranian proxies killed people with whom I served. In fact, when we acquired up-armored Humvees and better body armor, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard introduced electronically formed projectiles, EFPs, into Iraq. And EFPs, with Iranian fingerprints, took the lives of 500 U.S. soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan. That's just EFPs. That's just the EFPs. That's not the training of the Mahdi army and Al-Qaeda in Iraq. That's just the EFPs. The blood of 500 U.S. personnel. Dennis Prager talked about Munich. Do you know Neville Chamberlain signed that deal with Nazi Germany before a single shot had been fired on a British service member? The agreement in Munich was supposed to be permanent, not for 10 years. And so you compare it to Munich? What does a country have to do to prove that it's not worthy of a $150 billion signing bonus? What more does Iran have to show us that they're bent on the destruction of our country and our troops? Munich was also signed before the final solution, before even Kristallnacht. But Iran has already murdered 150,000 civilians in Syria through its proxies. What more do they have to do? And so today we stand shoulder to shoulder in unity. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, Jews and non-Jews. We stand here to say no. We stand here to fight for the future of this blessed country and a world that our children deserve to have. You know, today we mourn the destruction of the temple thousands of years ago, but you know the most painful thing of Tisha B'Av was the incredulity of the people to witness the destruction of Jerusalem. It is said that the Babylonians, unlike the Romans years later, reduced Jerusalem to ash and dust. Today there's only one weapon that can reduce cities to ash and dust. The people incredulously asked, how could this happen? How can sovereignty be lost after the walls of Jericho fell? After we witnessed miracles and wonders in the desert, how could this happen? God drew his bow like an enemy, Lamentations writes so painfully, because nothing is a sure thing. No sovereignty and no power and no privilege cannot be lost. That's the message of today. And I want to end my remarks talking not about Tisha B'Av, but talking about an event in history only a few short years later. A few short years after the pulverization of Jerusalem was the story of Purim. The emperor's decree was signed and sealed. It was inconceivable, the people thought, that the emperor's decree could be undone. The deal was a done deal. And just like it was inconceivable that sovereignty could be lost in the land of Israel, it was inconceivable that the decree of ruin and devastation could be undone in ancient Persia. But yet it was undone. The deal was undone. And you know what the difference was between the ruin of Jerusalem a few years before and the story of Purim a few years later? One thing. One difference. Unity of the people. There was disunity in ancient Israel, which led to the calamity. But in ancient Persia, Queen Esther knew better, and she said, before I go to the king, I ask all the people to fast and all the people to come together in unity, because if we stand united, anything can be undone. And that was the difference. And so today we come here in Los Angeles, and we had gathered in New York, and there are gatherings in Miami and in Chicago and in San Diego, shoulder to shoulder, Americans who love our country and who treasure our future. We come together shoulder to shoulder to stop this disgrace that will ruin our future. And if we stand together, the deal will be undone, and we will win, and we will preserve that future for our children and our grandchildren, God willing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elon Carr. Woo! Powerful speaker. And now I have a magic wand. This is it. It's the microphone. It's a magic wand. And I dub all of you lobbyists. You are each one of you. You dare not go home and do nothing. You dare not leave this rally right now, which was only from 2 to 4, and do nothing. We have 2 more speakers for you, and then I'm going to remind you, you dare not go home, because this is my magic wand. I dub all of you lobbyists, every single one of you, and your friends. Okay. And now, please welcome the head of the Iranian anti-regime dissident group called Marzipur Kohan, and the president of the West Los Angeles Chamber of Commerce, Ruzbe Farahanipur. Yeah. Ruzbe Farahanipur. Sorry.
Thank you. I'm Persian, and I want to make it clear. This deal was not with the Iran or Iranian people. This deal, that was the people who take the Iranian people as a hostage in last 36 years. This deal tried to empower the Islamic Republic, the hostage takers, and the state of a sponsor of terrorism. As a victim of the torture in Iran, and as a person who dedicated my life and my passion to freedom of my motherlands, and still continue to fight for freedom of Iran. After this deal signed, we're talking, are we alone in the world? And now we can see, no, we are not alone. We are here and we are standing together against the Islamic Republic of Iran. Lots of the Islamic Republic lobbyists try to say this deal stop the war. Is not true. The last peaceful tools in hand of Iranian people, that was the sanction against the Islamic Republic. When they inject the money in hand of the mullahs or terrorists, that make the danger for the international community and Iranian people. When the Islamic Republic, they have money, when you can see in the deal 60 or 67 name of the IRGC general or element of the IRGC Revolutionary Guard Corps removed from the sanction. Who will be take the responsibility for the future terrorist activity of these international named terrorists? I am a peace activist. I never pro-war, and as I said, the sanction was the last tool in hand of the Iranian people to keep Iran away from the war. We need to bring the Islamic regime down instead of the negotiate with the terrorists. And for the last word, For the last word, I want to chant with you, down with Islamic Republic of Iran.
Thank you so much. And now I have the great pleasure of, introducing everybody, but I have especially great pleasure because he tolerated me putting him last. Look, he's even smiling still. It's David Suissa, who is the advertising executive, amazing writer, and CEO of the Jewish Journal. Welcome, David Suissa.
I have a quiet message for you today. It's not a loud message. And the message is, it's really a great day for democracy. It reminds me why I love this country so much. When I see you out here, it reminds me as well that we're not standing here simply as Jews or Israelis or Republicans or Democrats. Above all today, we're standing here as Americans. And as Americans, we have the duty and the right to speak up if we think something is endangering our nation. Because our leaders in Washington, they report to us, we don't report to them. Now, I don't know if you've heard the argument from the people who defend and support the deal. This is what they're saying to our representatives in Congress. They're telling them, go ahead and debate the deal. Go ahead and criticize the deal. Go ahead and challenge the deal. But don't you dare say no. Don't you dare say no, because if you do say no, it will create a real big mess. Because we've already gone to the United Nations, and most of the world really loves the deal. So Congress, debate all you want, but please don't you dare say no. And when I hear that, I'm thinking, what kind of democracy is that? The founders of this great nation, when they crafted the US Constitution, they were not envisioning Congress as a rubber stamp for the White House. And they surely were not envisioning that we would outsource final approval of the most important foreign policy decision of our time to the United Nations and to the European Union. That role is not the role of the United Nations or the European Union. That role is our role. Because Washington reports to us. It's up to us to decide whether this deal is good for America or not. So I want to leave you with one message for all congressmen and senators who may be hearing me today. If you believe that this deal is bad for America, dare to say no. If you believe that this deal empowers an evil regime rather than empowering the people who are suffering under that regime, dare to say no. If you believe that this deal is endangering America because it's allowing intercontinental missiles that can reach Miami or New York, dare to say no. If you believe that this deal is bad for America because it makes a mockery of inspections, dare to say no. If you believe that this deal makes a mockery of snapback sanctions because there will be nothing to snap back to, dare to say no. And if you believe that this deal empowers our enemies and endangers our trusted friends and allies like Israel, dare to say no. So to all congressmen and congresspeople and senators in Washington, D.C., and wherever you are right now, in 55 days, around the time of Judgment Day, for the Jews, around the time of Rosh Hashanah, you'll be making a decision. And whether you are Democrat, Republican, Jewish, or non-Jewish, make that decision on behalf of America. Any deal that empowers evil is bad for America. And if you believe that that deal is bad for America, dare to say no. God thank you and God bless America.
Thank you, David Suissa. And now, Is there a cantor or someone with a wonderful voice among us that can lead us in the national anthem for America? Is there anybody? Then we do it. Anybody? Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed as the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. I'll ask you if you can stay a little bit longer. That's great. Take your signs to the streets. Show the cars what we're trying to say. The world cannot afford a nuclear Iran. And pick up your trash. And remember, this is a magic wand, and each and every one of you is now dubbed a lobbyist. Before you leave, sign at the table. Take literature with you. Take this moment into the future. Thank you, and God bless you.
All right, Alex, what's your thoughts? Aside from being thirsty.
My thoughts are that this particular crew is usually on the other side of my position in demonstrations. But this is one time that we are unified with a common enemy that is so evil that no matter what your position in the world is, you've got to hate Iran. You've got to be afraid of a nuclear-armed Iran. So it's a unifying factor.
And 4.